Hey Duncan, Sione here. Just having a look at your assignment. It's looking great. Loads of nice stuff since last time that I had a look at it. Love the action with the towel and also the secondary action that you've got on the chair as she talks to him at the end. That's really, really, really cool. So yeah, I was just gonna jump in and have a look at it and point out maybe a few things that can give you a hand. One of the things that jumps out to me a little bit at the beginning is frame 13. Check your hand for the silhouette when he does the pinch, because that's a really, really, really nice piece of motion you got there. And when he does this, it's really cool. But you kind of like lifting and twisting so that you kind of like lose his pinch in between the other fingers that he's got on the hand. So just look out, see if you can clear your silhouette just a little bit more on frame 13. You could almost grab, he's kind of like, his fingers are like that. You could move these fingers a little bit separate from the other ones so that you've got kind of like a nice silhouette between this and this over here. And when he looks over to her, that just feels a little bit linear right now. From frame 13, looking at the nose, to frame 23, he just goes like this. Maybe you might want to go just a bit of a turn as well in there. Just break that up, that little turn up. On frame 5, just something so that you've got a little bit of an arc on the head, which is great. And then he slides over, which is really cool. I almost feel that his screen right leg should actually move a little bit further forward in frame 46, because it doesn't feel like he steps well, when he actually is kind of like, he puts his foot down and it kind of like, his weight still kind of like hovers, so he doesn't like adjust when his other foot goes down. The weight on the hips doesn't change on frame 52, so you might want to just add a bit of a rotation there so that it actually feels like the step is actually making him catch his weight a bit more. Boom, boom, boom. I'd also have a look at the hand on frame 50. When it's closing, you can actually break that up a bit and have it, open up, by offsetting a few keys to actually have the hand close, a finger at a time, which will make it look a little bit nicer. You've got it kind of working, but it's like, it feels a bit weird because he's closing his hand like this, and realistically he should actually close it like that, which is kind of like a bit more natural. At least our hands tend to close index finger first rather than forefinger first. Okay, so have a look at that, and then when he comes back again, you've got a bit of this thing where the weight now that he's got in frame 72 when he bends over, there's kind of like, you don't notice that the weight is actually going onto his screen right foot, the one that's further back. It just feels like he's still putting most of his weight on his screen left foot. It just feels like he's floating a little bit. Again, I think it's just one thing that if you do and you move the hips to the other side and you straighten the other leg a little bit, the screen right leg, that'll probably make him just be a bit more firmer on the ground. So he leaves his scissors on the ground. There at frame 81, try adding a little bit of a drop in the hand so that he puts them down and lifts his hand up rather than splining like you've got it so far. And then when he looks back at her, might want to have a look at the eye, the screen left eye, sorry, frame 86. Just maybe cheat that eye a little bit so that it's a bit more in line with her. Both eyes are slightly off, actually facing, the other character that sat in the chair. So just try to work out your eye line on frame 86. And then you go in, really nice wash. I think almost at this stage when the secondary character on screen right is in frame 119, you can almost tilt the head up a little bit as well. Currently she's doing a lot of the action with the eyes, but you could just put a little bit more of a look at her there. And then as he comes up, really nice. Love that sway. I think he does look like he bobbles a little bit with his head to an extent. You might want to try and break that action up a little bit at the end. Just add a little bit of follow through to his head at frame 156, because he does kind of like a nice move, but he kind of like stops in his position. You might want him to go like that and just do a little pull away with his head as well. So his head can rock slightly, to screen right, and then readjust itself, so around frame 56, just add a few frames, 4 or 5 frames of overlap in the head, and that will give him a nice settle at the end there of that. Very nice on the shake of the hands. Then we go into your next shot, and she looks over. One of the things I think that works really well is that surprise look that you've got in frame 194. But then when she looks over to him in frame 198, you might want to change the shape of the eyes a little bit. Bring the eyebrows have a surprise, they come down a little bit, and the shape here in the eyes, try to favor the eye that looks at him, so the screen left eye, and make that eye wider, and then make the screen right, sorry, I got that the wrong way around. The screen left eye, so the direction that she's actually looking at him, make that eye a bit wider and the other one slightly smaller, and try to give a bit of a shape so that the pupils actually are at the top and it looks like they're pushing outwards on the eyelids in the direction that he's actually standing. Love Kung Fu. Yeah, and in Kung Fu over there, I think that one of the things that you can do here at frame 242 is have that motion of Kung Fu, and continue it a bit more in the next frame, in the next shot. It's there, but it's kind of like finishing. So almost like at the round frame 251, that middle part of I love Kung Fu is kind of like I love Kung Fu, and continue the drift and cut so you can see the end of the drift actually in the next shot. You've got a little bit of it, but I think you can continue that motion just a little bit more in the next shot. So coming back to him, there's some nice stuff with him drying his hands on the towel. You need to work a little bit your contacts over here a bit. It's a bit of a tough area, but I think you can probably come up with something to feel that he's making a bit more pressure against one hand and against the towel as well. And just looking at that, you should come over and watch some Kung Fu. I think that here he feels a bit drifty because kind of like the timing of him going up and coming down is a bit the same to an extent. So he kind of like goes up and he then comes back down and everything's like really smooth. You might want to do it a bit more kind of like Poppy doing it to an extent. So it's kind of like, you should come around and watch some Kung Fu, and he comes back so that you have a bit more of, him settling a hold at the top for a bit more, and the motion of him coming up, instead of being, it starts on frame 298 and then takes him to about 116 and he goes straight back down again to 130. Try to make him come up like in 8-10 frames and then have him hold there and then have him drop back down again in just a couple of frames as well. And also you can add a little bit more of a turn to him as well, so you can actually turn. You should come up and watch some Kung Fu and then turn back down again. So all of that, control that with the hips really to kind of like get that sense that he's turning around and then back down again. And pretty much that's it, all kind of like nitpicky stuff, but great job, man. It's looking really cool. I'm looking forward to see this finished, okay? Well, anyway, you have a good night, and hopefully talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.